Welcome to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. Uh, I am Alanna,
And I'm Kelsey.
and we are here to bring the cryptids today and
Yeah.
the true crime, to be honest, because that's what this
Yeah.
one is.
Yeah. We
Although, yeah, we did have
we
some
bring the
cool.
true crime.
We do. And it was like you said, if we wanted to call it Crime and Cryptids, that also would have rung pretty true and good. And I
Yeah.
never did think of that name myself, but it is pretty good. But I do like the
Yeah.
castles because I love it. I love the image castles evokes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crime and murder that took place at castles, so I mean, it works. I like the name.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different plays on the word crime in the podcast.
There's so many.
Yeah.
So many already.
Oh yeah. So you like a good like pun or like clever name? Oh, for sure. It's just good. Like
Yeah, I did want to do a shout out. I highly doubt they'll ever hear about it, but
what?
yeah, my first shout out of a podcast I found into the very first episode of today.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it's the one I told you about on the weekend, the Crime and Consequences.
Oh, nice name.
Yeah, so Crime and Consequences is I believe, I'm just on their website. Let me go to their about section because I believe they're both women attorneys.
Oh,
And
cool.
their podcast is described as a hardcore true crime podcast. They do not hold back details. But actually, in listening to their episode, I really liked how even the first one went. They don't do a lot of back and forth, which is quite different than what we do. They
Okay.
don't really, it seems to be like very informative. Like one of them does a case each week and pretty much just tells the other one the story of it in order as best they can.
I'm familiar with that because I have listened to Crime Junkie, which is
Yeah.
basically that format. Yeah, and things like that.
Yeah.
Kind of relaying it in a really, dramatic fashion. And basically the other person might be there to interject with a question here or there, but it kind of seems
Yeah.
like maybe it was a forethought of question and they don't go on any tangents or anything. So yeah, yeah.
No. This it
I get
was so their first episode is actually one of my favorite true crime cases.
it. Hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's the Ketty Cabin massacre.
Oh my God. No. Also, sorry, some child just screamed outside after
I
you
know
said
I
that.
couldn't do it. Um,
If that isn't a sign, I don't know what it is.
yeah, the Ketty Cabin, it took place in Cabin 28. It's an extremely small town. They're literally today, the town only has 65 residents, and this crime is still listed as unsolved. And there's like at least six people believed to be involved in this like multiple murder that took place. And this town, everybody knows who did it, but nobody's talking. Um,
And it happened at a camp or in the town? Oh.
it's in the town, so they kind of set up these little cabins, and when they didn't really work as like they set it up as a quote unquote resort. But nobody was really renting the cabins because it's such a small town. But it is on like a main highway to get between two large cities. So people were hoping that like people would stay there for like a couple nights to break up their drive. But when that wasn't happening, they pretty much flipped the cabins into just low income housing. So people were living there like permanently.
Oh, okay, got
Yeah. And
it.
yeah, so this is a murder of one of the families that was living in one of the cabins. But it's quite gruesome and everything like that. But it's got quite a few twists and turns and things like that. It's a pretty interesting one, I'd say. I had heard about it on BuzzFeed Unsolved. They did a good job, but in listening to the Crime and Consequences podcast, I was like blown away by the amount of information that they discovered.
Yay.
So they're,
That's always nice.
yeah. So their little thing, their little blurb just says Crime and Consequences is a true crime podcast hosted by two attorneys that love all true crime. Because they have a background in law, they have an edge on research and knowledge that you won't find with most true crime podcasts, which I found very true, and even just listening to that first episode. Yeah, so I wanted to give them a bit of a shout out because I was pretty like blown away.
Yeah. And that feels good to like just recognize someone, because it's like any other profession. It's like, well, speaking of journalism and stuff like that, it's like you want to recognize the ones that have integrity and stuff like that, and that are really representative of their craft. And that's so cool when they're like super smart attorneys. I don't know.
Right? Like in their About Me, it actually talks about they manage their own law firm. So these two ladies are still practicing law. They're still attorneys. They manage their own law firm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
so good for them.
Yay. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I like that. I love hearing shout outs, and basically it's a way to find new podcasts that you're like, I'm obviously gonna like because it's on something that I already like. But
Yeah, and they're the ones I told you when I found them on Facebook. They had posted a picture of um was it Ted Bundy, I think I had said, or Jeffrey Dahmer? One of them.
Bundy.
Their death cert yeah, must have
Oh,
been Bundy then. His death certificate, and that they were like, interesting fact, just so you know, that if somebody's like given or sentenced to death by the state by like lethal injection, that their cause of death is actually listed as homicide on their death certificate. And I was just like, really? And yeah, they just threw that out there, and they had a picture of his death certificate.
that is very cool. It reminds me of our podcast pals at Crime and Roses, because they're two attorneys that cover true crime and The Bachelor, and we did a promo
Yeah.
swap with them. Yeah, it's like, for me, that's so exciting to hear someone is our friend or our associate or our acquaintance six times twice removed, because we're promoting ourselves. It's like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like that one sounds really interesting. I will definitely check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem really cool. I'm excited to listen to more of their stuff.
And then it gets to be with the good TV where you're like, I want to listen to them. And I want to listen to them. I want to listen to them. Which is awesome, because then you just like don't have any nights where you're like, I don't know what I want to listen to if I want to listen to a podcast.
Yeah. Our own podcast. Let's get on with that then. And this week's topic, very cool.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well,
Or I named it, because I sent you a couple name options. So we have named it Dexter Made Me Do It. Woo!
yes, we've named it Dexter Made Me Do It.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, yeah, so this episode's going to be partially about the Dexter TV show, and then about a couple cases and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, because we really did inspire a few people. Apparently, a lot of people, when we were like, okay, can we do an episode on it? Whatever. Or
Yeah.
can we do a few episodes on it?
Right? Considering there was like top 10 people inspired by the Dexter TV show. And I was like, wow, there's a top 10.
That surprised me.
I think we talked about it. We did things a little differently. So I picked a couple people that may have actually inspired the Dexter character in the TV show.
Yeah, so the TV show was a Showtime TV show. If
Yeah.
any of you haven't seen it. So good. You should.
Yeah, I have a little copied and pasted blurb right from their Wikipedia that I that recaps the show quite nicely. I had told you, I think, on the weekend about my box set that I own. So I have like a special edition complete collection of the Dexter series that came in like a recreation of his Blood Slide box from the show. And each disc for the episodes is on like a little blood slide. I took pictures of it. It'll be on the website. It's pretty cool. And then it also came with like a media booklet where it has like some of the magazine covers, some of the promotional pictures and stuff like that that they did for the series. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I've never seen that. That sounds like it would look cool.
Yeah, it's kind of bulky and awkward because it's like, I don't know, the size of like a laptop and it's like 6 inches tall, but I love it.
I don't know. I
So
guess you're not really transporting it anywhere important.
no, no. So Dexter uh, is an American crime drama. This is copied straight from Wikipedia verbatim because I couldn't really think of a better way to list it. It's very to the point. So it's an American crime drama mystery television series that aired on Showtime from October 1st, 2006 to September 22nd, 2013. The plot follows that orphaned at age 3, when his mother was brutally murdered with a chainsaw by drug dealers, Dexter, played by Michael C. Hall, was adopted by a Miami police officer, Harry Morgan, played by James
Like,
Remar, recognizing recognizing the boy's trauma and the subsequent development of his sociopathic tendencies, Harry has manipulated Dexter to channel his gruesome bloodlust into vigilantism. That's a word. Killing only heinous criminals who slip through the criminal justice system. To facilitate covering his prolific trail of homicides, Dexter gains employment as a forensic analyst, specializing in blood spatter pattern analysis for the Miami Metro Police Department. Dexter is extremely cautious and circumspect. He wears
circumspect.
circumspect. I don't even know what that word means.
Not quite suspicious, but like, I don't know, maybe like odd, circumstantial. I don't know.
Something. He wears gloves and uses plastic wrapped, quote unquote, kill rooms, segments the corpses and disposes of them in the Atlantic Ocean's Gulf Stream to reduce his chances of detection. Dexter struggles to juggle his double life. Although his homicidal tendencies are deeply unflinching, he originally claims detachment, and this is in quotes, via narration, which some people hate, I like. Throughout the series, he strives to feel, and in some cases does feel, normal emotions and maintain his appearance as a socially responsible human being. The show's first season was derived from the novel Darkly Dreaming Dexter, written in 2004, and the first in this series of novels by Jeff Lindsay. It was adapted for television by James Manos Jr., who wrote the first episode. Subsequent seasons evolved independent of Lindsay's books. And in April of 2013, Showtime announced that season 8 would be the final season of Dexter. But on October 2020, it was announced that Dexter would return with the 10-episode limited series starring only one original cast member, Michael C. Hall, in his original role as Dexter, with Clyde Phillips returning as showrunner, and it is slated to premiere in late 2021.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's coming back because they ruined the show with the finale, and people were so mad for 7 whole years. They're like, we're gonna correct it.
Not necessarily a given that they're going to refilm it, though. Sadly.
No, they're saying that the the series finale, last series finale, is still canon. They're just going to continue where they left off.
Ugh.
So, he
Well,
still
sorry, I'm
became
not happy. Okay.
right. He
just,
still became a lumberjack in the woods with a beard and wore some plaid
that's true.
and
And
chucked his sister into a tornado or hurricane.
well, and they just ended it so crappily that way that I don't even care
Right.
what they have to say now. I'm just like,
Right.
whatever, moving on. Ugh, so
Yeah.
stupid.
But we get to my first of my two. So these are two I found out of the ones I looked at that I'd say most closely may have influenced the character of Dexter, at least partially. So yeah, they were both kind of interesting.
Okay.
So the first one is Manuel Pardo, who is a cop turned killer. Manuel, or Manny Pardo Jr., was born September 24th, 1956 in New York. And according to US Today, Pardo was, quote, a former Boy Scout, a Navy veteran, began his law enforcement career in the 1970s with the Florida Highway Patrol, graduating at the top of his class at the academy. He was fired from that agency in 1979 for falsifying traffic tickets. He was soon hired by the police department in Sweetwater, a small city in Miami-Dade County. So that's just a little. I tried to put this in chronological order because some of it was really messed up. So now that he's working in Sweetwater, in 1981, Pardo is one of 4 Sweetwater police officers charged with brutality. The cases were later dismissed.
Sorry.
4 years later, he was fired after flying to the Bahamas to testify at the trial of a Sweetwater colleague who was accused of drug smuggling. And during him testifying, Pardo lied and told the court that they were international undercover agents, which is not true. And for this, he was terminated from Sweetwater Police Department.
Okay.
This guy I don't like as much. My second guy, I really love him about as much as I love Dexter. So yeah, this guy I didn't like as much. He's kind of a dick. Over a 92-day period in 1986, Pardo and an accomplice committed a series of robberies and killed 6 men and 3 women. So beginning on January 22nd, 1986, Pardo and Rolando Garcia went to the residence of Mario Amador to purchase 2 kilograms of cocaine from Amador. Pardo and Garcia were working for Raymond Alvaro. We're going to talk more about him later. They arrived at his residence with Pardo carrying a briefcase with a .22 caliber semi-automatic silencer-equipped pistol. While their host, Mario Amador, was busy with the cocaine, Pardo pulled out his pistol and shot both Amador and Amador's partner, Roberto Alfonso, numerous times in the head and torso. And then they decided to just steal the cocaine instead of paying for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's not working as a cop anymore. He's pretty much just a drug dealer and enforcer guy.
I don't know. It just sounds a lot like True Romance. Okay.
In January 28th, 1986, Pardo and Garcia arranged to meet a Michael Millett, who was a gunsmith who had provided Pardo with several silencers that he had used. Pardo learned that Millett was a federal government informant and had become concerned that Millett might be setting him up for a federal bust. And so, yeah, they became quite worried about this, and Pardo and Garcia lured Millett into Pardo's vehicle, and Pardo blew his brains out with a 9mm Smith & Wesson. And then they dumped his body in a rural area and drove his vehicle into a canal.
Okay.
Yeah, their murder spree is just kind of like stupid. I don't know. February 27th, 1986, Pardo and Garcia pretty much repeat their first murder. They're sent by their boss, Raymond Alvaro, to purchase this time 3 kilograms of cocaine from a Louis Robledo. Yeah. Once at Robledo's apartment, Pardo goes into the bathroom where he produces the silencer-equipped 22 caliber Ruger semi-automatic pistol. He then comes out of the bathroom and shoots both Louis Robledo and his partner Ulpino Lido. I don't know. It's like UL and then piano. Piano Lido. Numerous times in the head and torso. I'm
Okay.
awful with names. There's so many Spanish names.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Italian. Whoops. They're all hard.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, I assume because it's Miami, it would be a lot of Spanish names.
Yeah.
And Latino names, everything like that. April 22nd, 1986, Pardo and Garcia go to the home of Farah Quintero and Sarah Musa. Pardo and Garcia apparently were upset with the girls because they had failed to purchase, and I love this, VCRs. This is so old. They had failed to purchase VCRs with murder victim Louis Robledo's Visa card, as they had been told to do by Garcia.
Well, damn, girls, that was the plan. Pick up the VCR.
Yeah. So it is noted that the girls did not know that the credit cards they were being told to use were from like prior murder victims. They had no idea. That is like mentioned multiple times. The men were apparently also upset with the girls because the girls kept complaining and bothering them about $50, which Garcia owed Vera Quintero. And lastly, the girls had also made the major mistake of bad-mouthing Garcia in conversations with other people, which they said questioned Garcia's integrity for failing to repay this $50. So they were mad she was telling people he owed her $50.
Oh, for God's sake.
So, right? So stupid. Once in their apartment, Pardo proceeded to the bathroom and did his usual pulling out his gun. When he came out, he shot Sarah Musa. Yeah. Sarah Musa multiple times, and then the gun jammed. He apparently, and this is awful, he unjammed the gun on Farah Quintero's head. So he apparently like smacked her in the head with the gun to unjam it, and then he shot her a bunch of times.
I mean, anyway, you're gonna shoot someone. It's not a great look.
No, he's just an asshole. I don't like him.
Yeah. Just terrible.
Yeah. The very next day, April 23rd, 1986, Pardo and Garcia caught up with their boss, Ramon Alvaro, who's the one that kept sending them to buy cocaine. And Alvaro had not come through with on 2 big cocaine deals Pardo had been counting on. Alvaro had been avoiding Pardo because of this, so he was kind of scared of him. Pardo and Garcia found their boss Alvaro and his girlfriend Daisy Rickard on April 23rd. The two are driven to an isolated spot. Pardo then shot Alvaro multiple times with his .22 Ruger and then shot Daisy Rickard once before the gun jammed. Again, he unjammed the gun by smashing against her skull. And apparently in the same time of him trying to unjam his gun, he managed to shoot himself in the foot.
And it was the second time he smashed it against her head to get it going?
Well, the second time he smashed it against somebody's head to unjam this gun. So apparently that's his go-to move, his gun jams and he just smacks it against somebody's head.
I'm sorry. I just can't.
Right? Awful.
Yeah.
So he shoots himself in the foot. After finishing off Daisy with several more shots, they dump her body in a secluded area and left Alvaro's body in the trunk of his vehicle, Alvaro's vehicle. They then immediately flew to New York, where Pardo received medical treatment for his foot. I just want to know how they got on a plane and everything with him bleeding from the foot. I don't know.
Private jet. Eh, I'm
With
not
all that,
familiar with the private jet life.
right? With that drug dealer money. So Pardo apparently took photos of his victims. He kept a diary where he wrote some details. This was all found along with newspaper clippings about the murders, and he apparently also had a Nazi memorabilia collection. As I said, this guy was an asshole. I like him much, or I don't like him at all. I like the other guy. Pardo was apprehended in New York City when he was found in a hospital with a bullet in his foot. Pardo maintained until he died that his mission was to rid Florida of its drug culture by killing one by one, or in his case, two by two, active sellers. I know, I love that. Killing one by one, or, because they only killed in twos. It's great.
I don't know. It's just all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, Noah's Ark or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Two by
but-
two. Two by two.
Okay. Oh, I can't hear the words one by one without thinking of Harper's Island, which now that we lent that miniseries
Oh,
to you,
one by one.
it's not like it's amazing or anything. It's just like it's a really good murder mystery, and then I always hear one by one, and I think of how they were all
Yeah.
picked off by the murderer one by one, and that's
I
the
really liked that series. It was really good.
It was good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was well
some
done.
actors got some fame after. Who knows?
Yeah, recognized a couple of them.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember the main girl. We've seen her in something lately, but I can't remember what it is.
Oh, okay.
I'll get back to you.
So they killed two by two the active seller and buyers of drugs, admitting to at least 6 of the 9 murders that they committed. During his trial, against the advice of his attorneys, Pardo took the witness stand in self-defense. And this is some quotes from Pardo during his trial.
Oh.
He said, "I am a soldier. I accomplished my mission, and I humbly ask you to give me the glory of ending my life and not send me to spend the rest of my days in state prison." It says Pardo acknowledged that he killed all 9 victims, but claimed that all 9 victims were drug dealers who had no right to live and that he was doing society a favor.
Oh God.
Prosecuting attorney David Waxman maintained that Pardo was a, quote, cold-blooded killer, and the Clark County prosecutor's site says, quote, the state presented the case that Pardo and Garcia were drug dealers and were eliminating the competition. So that's how the prosecutors viewed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. During
No,
after his
take out the opposition.
yeah. Even after his conviction, Pardo maintained in numerous press interviews that he did more social good as a killer than he could have ever done as a police officer. And then I have a little bit more information. So his final and special meal that he was allowed before he was executed, he asked for, I don't know why this was listed, it's great though. So his final and special meal was rice, red beans, roasted pork, plantains, avocado, tomatoes, and olive oil. And for dessert, right? That doesn't sound bad. For dessert, he ate pumpkin pie and drank some eggnog and had some Cuban coffee.
It's
Um,
all very Spanish or, Latina, Mexican. It sounds very
yeah,
south of the border delicious.
yeah. Under Department of Corrections rules, the meal's ingredients have to cost $40 or less and be available locally and made in the prison kitchen. So that's some information.
Weird.
Yeah, I
What?
didn't know they had a price cap on it. That's kind of interesting.
I mean, I feel like I can see that, but that it's like has to be made within what? That's seems so specific.
Yeah, it has to be made like in the prison's kitchen. So you can't like order in from your favorite restaurant as the last meal, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah. So about his execution. So before Pardo was strapped to the gurney, he apparently, in neat handwriting, wrote a letter accepting responsibility for killing 6 men, but now claims that there was no women he killed. He insisted, as part of his quote, war against men who were trafficking in narcotics.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he kind of flipped to what he said in the trial, where he agreed that he had killed 9 people. Now he says it's just 6 men, no women. Uh, so Frank Judd, who is the nephew of Farah Quintero, insists Pardo was, quote, no soldier, but rather a disturbed soul whose hatred for mankind knew no mercy. And he called Pardo's execution, quote, mild justice for taking his beloved aunt.
Mm-hmm.
So Pardo's final words, and this was kind of, so one like source I found says that this quote was actually part of the letter he wrote, and then other ones said it was his final words. So it's stated possibly that his final words were "airborne forever, I love you, Michi baby," and that was referring to his daughter.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like Michi.
But
Um,
yeah, but what? No, very mysterious. I love you
yeah.
forever. Okay, his daughter's name. Okay, I mean, yeah, all right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was executed in Florida on December 11th, 2012 by lethal injection and was pronounced dead at 7:47 p.m. And Manuel Pardo Jr. spent a total of 26 years on death row before his execution. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything really about his partner Garcia. I couldn't even find a picture of him that I could confirm was him. Like this dude, I couldn't find anything about the trial, him being sentenced, killed, a picture of him, nothing.
Wow.
And it was his partner in crime for the entire spree. So I don't know what's up with that.
I
So
I believe in
yeah,
Nessie, and there's not a lot of pictures of her.
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. That's weird.
So my last little tiny bit I have about Pardo. So
Mhm.
in popular culture, in 2015, a shooter video game called Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number. That's the name of a video game, I guess. One of the playable characters is an unhinged Miami Police Department homicide detective named Manny Pardo, who uses his authority to go on violent rampages for the good of Miami. And there has been some speculation that Dexter Morgan was inspired in part by Pardo due to their resemblance. I hope it's not in what they look like because Miguel Pardo looks like a fucking skeleton of a human being. He has sunken eyes, a
Well,
bald head. Oh, it's just,
what else
oh,
could they mean by their resemblance, though?
I have no idea. But
Must be.
they do not look alike.
They
Like
don't?
there's one picture I looked up of Pardo and it honestly creeped me out so much. Do you know like the um what is it? The from the silent episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Do you remember those floaty guys with the silver teeth?
Ish at most. Not,
Okay.
not really.
He looks like that, but he, instead of like being pale because he's dead, he still has some color in his skin. Other than that, he looks exactly the same. He's horrifying.
Okay.
So, but it is said, this I believe a little bit more, that another character in Dexter, the TV show, Miguel Prado, was likely named after Pardo. Pardo.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a little quote thing I found in one of the sources. I can't remember which one at the moment. So it says Dexter Morgan has this ritual where he lays out the photos of bad guys he wants to kill on his computer. Manny Pardo, he would put up pictures of people he wanted to kill in his apartment, and like Dexter, he would retain these, quote, keepsakes. While Dexter has his, quote, blood slides, Pardo kept the ashes of the cartridges he used to kill his victims in an urn, which he said represented the souls of his victims rotting in hell.
So he thinks.
Yeah, right? My second case, I guess, or my second person that may have
Oh.
inspired Dexter.
Oh yeah. May have inspired? Like beforehand?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, these because the last guy I don't think inspired much, but he kind of went on like a vigilante kind of thing. The next guy I'm gonna talk to is most he took it like a step further. I don't know. I let's just say I liked a lot of stuff and people Dexter killed. I support him. You know,
Okay.
he, yeah, you'll get why. Um, so this gentleman, he's from Brazil. His name is Pedro Rodriguez Filho. I'll be
Okay.
calling him Rodriguez so he doesn't get, because when I was trying to type my notes, I kept getting, every time I went to put Pedro, I put Pardo from my other segment. So I'm going to be calling him Rodriguez because I was
Okay.
confusing myself. So,
Oh, okay.
as I said, he was born in Brazil on July 17th, 1954. He is commonly known as Pedrinho Matador or Killer Petey, which I like Killer Petey. According to official records, he has killed at least 71 criminals, but the number is believed to be much higher, in the possible like at least 100 plus.
Wow.
But official, like what they have 100% confirmed, is 71.
Oh,
So yeah, only. Uh, so Rodriguez started killing as a teenager, and it's stated that he first thought about it when he was around 13 during an argument he had with his cousin. And during this argument, he pushed the man into a sugarcane press and almost killed him.
okay.
So, yeah. I looked up sugarcane presses. They're intense. It's like two grinding, I don't know, it looks like two steamrollers that apparently just press sugar and he pushed him into it.
Well, I don't know why the kids are allowed to play around that. I just want to know, like, does he deserve it?
Right? I couldn't find um anything really about what the cousin was doing. The rest of them he does have explanations for. So at 14, he killed a deputy mayor of the Santa Rita do Sapoke. Sapoke. Uh, he shot him with his grandfather's shotgun in front of City Hall. This deputy mayor he killed was because this gentleman had fired his father from his job as a school guard when his dad had been blamed for stealing food from the kitchen. And then apparently he killed a security guard who was reportedly the one that was actually the thief. So he killed the deputy mayor that accused his dad and fired his dad for stealing food, and then he killed the dude that was stealing food at
I
14.
mean, I'm not going to pretend to understand, but okay.
Yeah, that one doesn't make much sense. The rest of these are justifiable. Because of these two murders at age 14, Rodriguez took shelter in Mogi das Cruzes in Greater Sao Paulo and began robbing drug dens and killing traffickers.
It's a last
And
name? Oh.
yeah, and she was nicknamed Botinha, which I looked up because I was like, what kind of nickname is that? And it just means booty. So she was nicknamed Booty. I don't know, maybe she had a great ass. Who knows?
Okay.
So they began living together, and Rodriguez was soon forced to eliminate some other drug and gang members. He killed at least 3. Maria became pregnant, but was unfortunately executed by a rival gang leader. During her capture and execution, Rodriguez escaped and went back for revenge for her and the death of his child that she'd been carrying. He tortured and killed several people in attempts to find out who is responsible for her death. And a gang leader was met by Rodriguez and 4 of his friends at a wedding celebration in which 7 people were killed and 16 were wounded. And at this time, Rodriguez was not yet 18 years old. So, yeah, he's killing quite a few.
He's killing quite a few. Okay.
Yeah. Well, in Mogi, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Mogi, Mogi. Or maybe
No.
Moji. He visited his father in jail and reportedly killed him, as the father, in the meantime, after he had killed a man over firing his father, apparently his father had killed Rodriguez's mother with 21 blows with a machete.
Okay.
So that part's kind of crazy. I don't know. So Rodriguez was arrested for the first time on May 4th, 1973, at the age of 18. And since then, he has spent most of his life in prison. Police reports show, so the rest of his killings all take place while he was in prison. So police reports show that one time he was being transported in the back of a car with another prisoner. Both of the prisoners were handcuffed. And when the cops opened the back of the car, the other prisoner was dead, and Rodriguez stated that his death was justified because the other prisoner was a rapist. So he had just killed him.
Okay.
Due to his age at the time, as I said, he was arrested when he was about 18. He was sent to a low security prison, and according to fellow prisoners, Rodriguez is a, quote, phenomenon of survival in the harsh prison regime, as a prisoner could hardly survive that long. He killed and wounded dozens of other inmates in order to survive, and one time he was attacked by 5 prisoners. He managed to kill 3 of them and chased away the other 2. Rodriguez also killed a cellmate because he, quote, snored too much, and another because he did not like his face. Which, okay. I don't like your face. He has tattooed on his left arm, quote, I kill for pleasure, but he has had it covered up by another tattoo since then.
Okay.
So Pedro killed a total, or Rodriguez killed a total of 47 criminals in the jail where he was kept, taking out everyone who he thought didn't deserve a life, or didn't deserve to live, just like Dexter Morgan. It is believed that Rodriguez has killed more than 100 people, but only 71 of them were officially counted. He's been interviewed saying that he got a thrill and joy out of killing other criminals. He also said that his favorite method of murder was by stabbing or hacking with blades.
Well, yeah, Dexter Morgan is the criminal rather than it almost sounded like whatever. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
Yeah, Dexter wasn't a criminal, but he did kill other criminals. So this guy like channeled his urges at killers the way like Dexter was trained to, kind of. So Pedro Rodriguez Filho was sentenced to a total of 128 years in prison because of his crimes, and then that was extended to 400 years upon the discovery of murders he committed before he was arrested. And strangely enough, under Brazilian law, a person is allowed to serve only 30 years at a time. So Pedro or Rodriguez slashed 3 more people while he was behind bars, and that increased his time by 4 more years, and he was released as a free man in 2007.
Okay.
On September 15, 2011, local media reported that Rodriguez was arrested at his home in a rural area where he worked as a caretaker in Balneario Camporu,
It doesn't matter. Nobody
Santa.
was paying attention after 9/11 anyway. They thought they knew the answer to the world.
Right? This is just a few days later. Santa Catarina Coast, he served another 8 years due to charges such as riot and deprivation of liberty, committed while he was detained in Sao Paulo, and he was released again in 2018. Now, one of the most interesting things I found about him is he actually has his own YouTube channel. Now, the hours I dedicated to trying to find his YouTube channel or even a single video. From what I understand, the channel was started when he was released, like shortly after, like 2007.
Okay.
And I believe it was probably taken down sometime when he was arrested again in 2011. But there's a whole bunch of articles about this YouTube channel, but I could not find a YouTube channel for him. And yeah, so that was kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
But
well, he just might be out there.
yeah, but in his YouTube channels, it was kind of interesting. So this is copied. Um, these are some quotes and stuff from some of the YouTube videos. I copied the rest of this directly from the gazetadupovo.com. So after 42 years in prison and over 100 murders, Pedrinho Matador, or Killer PD, now comments crimes in YouTube videos and is preparing a documentary about his life. Out of jail for 7 months now, Brazil's greatest killer guarantees he only wants peace. His channel has over 28,000 subscribers and over 2.5 million views. The idea came from his friend, 30-year-old Pablo Silva, who produces the videos. Among the topics he comments are crimes such as the deaths of the little dog in the Carrefour supermarket in Osasco. So apparently a dog was like murdered with its owner inside of a supermarket.
Yeah.
He also commented on the murder and mutilation of footballer Daniel Correa Freitas and the murder and rape of a 16-year-old student named Rayanne Alves. This is another quote. He says, these are crimes which outrage us, filled with lies, and put an end to the happiness of a person. The young woman, Rayanne, why did the security guard do that to her? She has a family, a beautiful woman with a son. The devil makes the pot, but forgets to make the lid. Everything eventually gets found out. His conviction came out of a pen that was found by the side of her body, he says.
Okay.
After spending more than 4 decades in prison, he also feels responsible for warning younger people at the risks of a life of crime, saying crime is no joke. Many are entering this life because they see the branches, fame and money, and not the roots, which is prison and death. It's like the devil. What he gets with one hand, he takes away with the other. There are many young people who enter this life, and when they want to get out, it's too late, he says.
Ooh.
Yeah, out of like what he sees in the youth that disturbs him the most, I guess, and he says does not fit, quote, his code of conduct, is young people breaking bus stops, riding skateboards on sidewalks, disrespecting older people, lying to their parents about where they're going,
Everything.
which is interesting. Yeah. Yeah, there's like people in his life and everything that now, like with him working on the YouTube, or was working on the YouTube video and working on this documentary, people say he's really nice and they trust him. He jokes with people in the production crew, and he pretty much just wants to be left alone. I guess he gets recognized a bunch in public, and these people
Ugh.
can be quite aggressive and stuff with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he kind of wishes he could just get left alone a lot of the time.
Really.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, but
Well,
that's what I have. Like I said, I really tried to find his YouTube channel so I could post it on the website or watch a video, because he does actually he looks really friendly and nice, and I don't know. Yeah.
welcome. We went on a wee breaky.
Yeah.
I
What,
got it.
almost 6-day long break?
I guess.
5-day long, I guess, because we
Problem
recorded
sometimes.
on Wednesday.
Yeah. And then sometimes things just go too late and
Yeah.
Alanna gets too in her cups or something and we don't get through my case and shit happens.
Yeah.
But we're real. We're here, like, we're not pretending to be anything we're not. You
Yep.
guys get us
And we're
more
back.
than all. We are. We are. Yeah, so no, that was cool. We are just talking about the new Patreon episode, and that's going to be good because we've both been researching more about the aliens, and
Yeah.
that's a rabbit hole.
There's a lot of information to go through about
Yeah,
the aliens.
there's going to be a few episodes of the Declassified series for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be good. Yeah, everyone will have to stay tuned. Yeah. And then we're gonna finish talking about Dexter killers.
Yeah.
Yay! One thing that I have heard recently is that I don't know if we talked about it. I don't think so, but that blood spatter analysis and things like that have been questioned as a science or as a method. Do you know what I mean?
I think I heard a little bit about that from Wine and Crime, actually.
Yeah, I think that was probably my first inkling of it too. They because they had an early episode about it, and I feel like they referred back to it almost like they felt like it was cringy. And I was like, did I miss something? Because I hadn't heard that bloodstain analysis had been discredited or anything. But I have a
Yeah.
report written about it because I thought it was a bit interesting.
Mhm.
It's just that bloodstain analysis has been drawing skepticism apparently since about the year 2000. This is just a little bit from Wikipedia, but a comprehensive 2009 National Academy of Sciences report concluded that the uncertainties associated with bloodstain pattern analysis are enormous, and that purported bloodstain pattern experts' opinions are more subjective than scientific. Which I could see.
Yeah.
Sciences
I
take a
guess it's
long time to form, and this has just been talked about for how long?
yeah, it's probably like a person's experience and like stuff like that too, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for how many crime scenes would you have to see where someone's killed a certain way before you're like, I know that bloodstain powder was achieved this certain way? Like maybe it just hasn't had the time to be tested enough to be fully not credible, but I don't know, vetted or whatever. Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all I had was like that it's been a little bit debated, we'll say.
I don't think that you shouldn't rely on one thing to be your end all be all evidence against somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's always bad.
Sippy sip. So, do we know about a man named Mark Twitchell? I
Only
think,
by name, because
yeah.
of where we live.
Okay. I don't know if
Yeah.
everybody does. You know what? I didn't know a lot of these things before I looked it up. One fun fact I will tell you is that a lot of this timeline takes place about the same time I moved to Edmonton. And I asked
Oh,
Pat, I was like, literally, what month did we get here? Because I know it was this year, 2008, that this is all taking place. I was like, what the hell? Were we just like, oh, we're moving. We don't have time to think about a serial killer. Or not really a serial killer. I'm sorry. We'll get into it.
a
Not
murderer.
Yeah, I was in the news. So, he was born on the 4th of July in 1979. I'm sure there's a song that talks about born on the 4th of July, but I don't know it well enough to sing it here. Um, cue music. No. So, Mark Twitchell, born on the 4th of July, 79. And in September of 2008, Twitchell produced and shot a small indie film that he called House of Cards. Which, House of
Did not
Cards,
star Kevin Spacey.
right? But is just as canceled today, like Kevin Spacey.
Good one.
And the film depicts a man who is trying an online dating site, and he meets a woman. A woman.
A woman.
You started talking about wine and crime, and then I just was like, oh, and now I'm going to start talking like Lucy and Amanda. Okay.
A woman.
And Canyon. A woman whom he goes to meet up with in real life. So so this movie's about this guy who thinks he's going to meet up with a woman in real life. He is then ambushed by a killer that had been catfishing him to lure him to his death. You know what catfishing is? The pretending
Yeah.
online. Yeah. And the murderer straps him to a table and cuts him up into little bitty pieces. So
That
that's
sounds
what,
familiar.
right. That's Mark Twain.
Is there garbage bags and a boat that if I remember correctly, is called a slice of life?
Yeah, but where would the boat go? It would have to go on the river.
Alberta Beach.
We just like, you're right. Oh, I miss the water. Anyway, so we're gonna go back a bit and talk about something else, a little different in the case. John Brian Altinger, or Altinger, I really don't know, was a 38-year-old oil field worker living in Alberta. Not uncommon by any means.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a big industry here. So he was looking for love on a popular dating site called Plenty of Fish, which I know many friends that have been on that back in the day. It
Yeah.
was a cool one, yeah. So he began talking to a woman named Jen, and they planned to meet up in person. And shortly after Johnny left for his date, some of his friends began receiving odd messages from him. They got texts from him saying that he was going to Costa Rica with Jen for a vacation. Johnny's boss received an email supposedly from Johnny saying he was quitting. When the boss asked where to forward his last paycheck, he got no reply. And just the email that he sent to him read as follows. Hey there. I've met an extraordinary woman named Jen who has offered to take me on a nice long tropical vacation. We'll be staying in her winter home in Costa Rica. Phone number to follow soon. I won't be back until December 10th, but I will be checking my email periodically. See you around the holidays, Johnny.
Because that's what one does. Go on a first date, and half an hour later, you're going to Costa Rica together.
Quit your job by email.
Yeah. We're going to Costa Rica.
It's Toby Flenderson. No. His friends also stopped receiving replies when they inquired further, so they decided to investigate. A few of Johnny's friends broke into his condo. Nice friends. I love them.
Yeah.
They care, man. Like, they're worried.
They care enough to break into your house.
But they did find his passport still there, and nothing seemed to be packed or taken on a trip, so they called the police. A week prior to Johnny's planned meetup with Jen, Mark Twitchell lured a man named Gilles Tetreault to his garage where he did his filming. Mark posed as a woman named Sheena and arranged to meet up with Gilles. I think it's Gilles. If he didn't grow up speaking French, it's probably Giles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. So Mark instructed Gilles to enter through a partially open garage door. When Gilles got to the garage, he ducked under the half-open door. He was hit from behind with the stun baton. So he had like a police billy club thing, I guess.
Okay.
It's not good news.
Whenever I hear stun baton, I always think it's like a taser baton. But do those even exist?
No, I don't think so. I know it's very confusing because I think the stun just refers to you whopping someone over the head and stunning
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Maybe
And
it's like stun gun. Stun gun, is that like a slang word for taser?
yes, and also like here
Okay.
in North America, like we would more likely have a taser, whereas in the UK, the bobbies, the British police, they don't carry guns. They only carry batons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just gonna whack you good.
Real good, governor. I'm so
Come
sorry.
here, I'm gonna give you a whack.
I'll stop with the cliched accents and sayings. Okay, so stun baton. The attacker wore an old-fashioned hockey mask. So it's not like a modern one, obviously. It's not the Jason Friday the 13th, white mask with the holes in it either. It's
Okay.
more like made of brown leather straps. So it reminds me of like a Hannibal Lecter mask a little bit. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah, it's like brown leather face straps. I feel like it's like one of the earliest hockey masks. So that's what he was wearing, the attacker. He ordered Gilles to the ground. He duct taped his eyes. And then Gilles thought to himself, if I'm going to die, I'm going out my way. Basically. He's like, fuck this. So he jumped up, ripped the tape off of his eyes, and grabbed his assailant's gun. A violent tussle ensued, and Gilles escaped into the back alley. He collapsed in front of a couple who happened to be walking by, but they feared he was simply deranged and or trying to trick them in some way. So they didn't help.
Poor man.
I know. That's rough. But like kind of a
Fair.
sign of the time. Yeah, you wouldn't know what to do. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I would be like, are you from Jeffrey Dahmer's house? Why are you bleeding out of the rectum? I'm calling the police. This is not a sex
Oh my
game.
God.
Sorry.
Uh,
So he collapsed and he managed to get away. He fled back to his own house, but he was basically so embarrassed that he had been duped and tricked that he didn't call the police. So I feel bad for him. But only 1 week later, that's when Johnny Altinger wouldn't be as fortunate as Gilles. He would be Twitchell's next victim. So back to Johnny's disappearance. Johnny's friends were growing more concerned by the minute. He was not answering any of their texts. And, oh yeah, they had broken into his condo, obviously, already, but they knew him to be such a cautious, smart person that he had texted two of his friends the directions he was given by Twitchell or Jen. So Thankfully, his friends were able to lead police to Twitchell's garage, and this is where they found Twitchell's quote-unquote movie set. I don't really know what was in it other than obviously it probably looked like a stage where you could kill someone, like plastic, maybe a
Yeah.
table.
A
But I'm not
whole shit ton of saran wrap, a black butcher's apron, a face shield.
maybe a meat hook. No, I don't know.
He's wearing long sleeved green shirt. Dexter's kill shirt. That's all I can picture him wearing ever. He's either wearing pink or he's wearing his kill shirt.
Ooh, are those the ones like he would wear these kind of tight, long-sleeved ones with the
Yes.
crew neck? I thought he looked hot in that, man.
Yep. Hands down. The murder shirt.
So sexy.
The amount of times I've had to stop myself from being like, oh yeah, when he's like just like fighting somebody in the tight shirt, and I was like, wait, what did I just say? I'm like, his arms look great.
Right? Oh my god, we'll have to post that picture I sent to you where I was like looking at a list of celebrities that look like other people, basically. It's because
it was a good picture.
it looked like he looked like this guy, someone's like dad or whatever, looked like Michael C. Hall so much. Yeah. Basically, I think it was the Salty Speculation guys did a time travel episode, and then they had posted one where it was like Greta Thunberg, and then it was like it like someone that looked like her in the 1800s. And so then I ended up like looking up.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I looked up one of those lists of people that like have old-timey lookalikes. I loved it. I love that shit. Anyway, so tangent over. So they also the police noticed a red Mazda parked in the driveway of Mark Twitchell's garage. And what were they looking for that Johnny Altinger had driven? A red Mazda that was missing. So police confiscated Mark Twitchell's car, whose license plate read Dark Jedi. I mean, I would love that if I didn't.
Of course it did.
So much. So it turns out he was a huge Star Wars fan, Twitchell, and had actually worked on a fan film in 2006 called Secrets of the Rebellion. But I still hate him. But I love Star Wars. So that's very conflicting for me.
Yeah.
On Twitchell's laptop, police found a deleted file called SK Confessions. Basically, SK is in serial killer.
Oh.
I know. It's like, you're like, what? SK? Mark Twitchell. But the first line said, this story is based on true events. The names and events were altered slightly to protect the guilty. This is the story of my progression into becoming a serial killer.
Oh, so just, this is my written confession. It's very long. I will sign it at the end.
This is my emo bullet journal.
Yeah.
Or have you ever, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but there is another story I listened to today that I heard about before, but like basically that the criminals wrote somewhere like plan and then like detailed their steps and like left it laying around.
I love that. That's great.
Oh my god, we're definitely gonna cover it. Okay, jotting this down. Have you heard of the Cowchilla bus kidnapping?
No.
Okay.
And it's not pronounced Coachella?
No, it's a place, but it is a place in California. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm literally jotting it down. Okay. That's great.
Step 1, get a better plan. Step 2, don't talk about the plan. Step 3.
It's actually, I was listening to it on Drinking the Kool-Aid. She was like, it starts out a bit rough. She's like, but it's got a happy ending. And the other one's like, who was listening, Amanda? She was like, oh, okay. Or I can't remember which one. Because voices are hard to tell apart on podcasts. We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm Alanna. No.
And I'm Kelsey. Every 5 minutes.
They placed Twitchell under 24-hour surveillance. They then learn he's a huge fan of the TV show Dexter. Twitchell had even posed as the main character, Dexter Morgan, on Facebook. So I guess he had a separate profile? I'm not too sure. He was like, I'm Dexter. I don't know. And then, okay, so on October 23rd, 2008, Twitchell was sent an email to his colleagues that were helping with the movie, asking them to refrain from talking to the police. But he's like, don't be suspicious. Right?
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. And then on October 31st, 2008, Mark Twitchell was arrested. Police had confirmed blood found in the trunk of Mark's car matched Johnny's DNA. I just brought it right back down again. So,
Yeah, boo.
A knife was found in Twitchell's car with blood still actually on it and like all over even the sheath of the knife. So it was bad. Police were now quite convinced the document found in the laptop were actually serial killer confessions or SK confessions. And they were about, they were about the murder of Johnny and the attempted murder of Gilles. But he had referred to Gilles as Frank, so they didn't actually know who Gilles was at this time. All they had was poor dead Johnny. So they went to the media with the hockey mask because at this point they didn't know who Frank was, and I just said that, I'm sorry. But they hoped that Gilles would come forward.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't know, but they knew he possibly attacked somebody before because of his writings.
Right, exactly. But all they had was the pseudonym of Frank, and they didn't know who it was because Gilles hadn't come forward. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Convoluted the way I said it. So as they had hoped, Gilles Tétrault came forward on November 8th of 2008, and he said he was the man in the first story of the SK confessions. And police now believe that Johnny Altinger was hit over the head with a pipe and then stabbed to death. Then he probably dismembered the body as Dexter would have done. Yeah. WWDD, what would Dexter do? No. I just try to keep it light. This is how I deal. I'm so sorry. I'm not as sensitive.
Did you ever run across, there's a Dexter meme that has a picture of a car that's saran wrapped to like a telephone pole or a light post or something, and it says, "Go home, Dexter, you're drunk." It's great. It used to be like the background of my phone for like a year.
Sorry, what's saran wrapped? A car or a car?
Yeah, the car like is just parked beside like a light post, and the person like saran wrapped the car to the light post.
What the fuck? That's awesome.
It's great.
I like it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I still have it saved somewhere on my computer.
Oh, we should post that when we post this episode. Yes.
Okay, I'll find it.
I like the funny ones.
Yeah, I'll find some Dexter memes.
So, as Dexter would do, dismembered the body, yada, yada, yada. One talked about the killer trying to burn the body in a barrel. And then cops found a burned barrel inside the garage and an outline of a charred, burned circle at his parents' house. I wrote that with. So he'd obviously tried to burn the body, but at his parents' place. And then for some reason, it took them 2 years to like find Johnny's remains. So for 2 years, they searched for Altinger's remains. And finally, they were given a Google map from Twitchell that led to a sewer.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know, and I don't know why it took so long either. So his body was found just a half block from where police had actually stopped their search. Also sad. And
Yeah.
it's just to put a cherry on top, his apparent only motive for these crimes, Twitchell, just from what they could figure, the experience to make an authentic serial killer movie. That's what most of the cops thought.
Yeah. That is stupid. He got too, like, in his head method about this. Been like,
So
oh,
method.
who is it? He went full Jared Leto.
Oh my god, I was gonna say, oh god, Christian Bale.
Yeah, he was the one I was gonna say, but I couldn't think of his first name. But yeah, Jared Leto and Christian Bale up against each other.
Although I have a lot more respect for Christian Bale, I gotta say.
Yeah.
He's done some really cool shit. American Psycho.
When I was younger, I do have to say I did enjoy 30 Seconds to Mars. So, you know.
Was that a movie?
No, that was Jared Leto's band.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I also saw something that was talking about Aquamarine the other day, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, okay, just to finish it off here, Mark Twitchell was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life. He's in jail in Saskatchewan currently. Fun fact for you.
Oh, that's
Yeah, one province over. They moved him a little bit. So, other not so fun fact, he is currently a patron of a dating site for criminals, Canadian Inmate Connect.
ugh.
Okay. Oh my God, I don't even know what to do first. Because it's sad, I was going to say about Johnny, like, really, he's the one we should be remembering. He'd only been 38 at the time of his death, and he left behind, like, many loved ones, including family, mom, brothers, nephews, friends. So that was really tragic.
Yes.
But just to end it on a crazy light note, we can read his profile on the dating site if you want.
Oh my God. Okay.
And like the owner of the website basically said, I don't exclude anybody from joining depending on their crimes. I just don't do that, said Melissa Fazina, who started the website 6 years ago. It's
Well,
like,
why did you stick to pen pals?
you're like, depending on the crime, his crime was literally where he lured people through a dating website. Maybe that should be the one you should be discerning about.
That's very true. I didn't think about that aspect of it.
Okay, so his profile says, Mark Twitchell, institution, I know how to say Saskatchewan. I'm Canadian.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan Penitentiary. Oh, literally, he's in Prince Albert. You got Prince Albert in a can? No, that's Wayne's World. Old reference, maybe. It'll be over your head, Kels. Don't worry.
I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list.
I actually don't think I've really seen it in a long time, so sue me. I'm just as bad. But I love Mike Myers. And I also love Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me just read this. I can't stop interrupting myself. He is convicted of murder. Expected release date 2027. Interested in corresponding with women. I was tentative about reaching out because I thought I couldn't offer much and doubted anyone could look past my reputation to see the human being. But trying is definitely worthwhile if it means finding just one meaningful, mutually fulfilling friendship. My crime doesn't just define who I am or represent me at all. I've made some terrible, regrettable choices in the past, and I've come to terms with the consequences. Now I seek to infuse purpose into my life, Connection is a huge part of that. My creative engine never slows, so I produce artwork constantly and craft novels or screenplays to manifest my relentless imagination. I'm insightful, passionate, and philosophical. Is that? I have a hard time with that word, as you know. Philosophical, with a great sense of humor. I enjoy tennis, chess, and clever storytelling. Oh,
Like
don't come to
Dexter.
me. Don't come to me then. No. I love the rain and the music of artists like Sia, Jackie Evancho, and Arcade Fire. I'm looking
Oh
for
my
an
god. I can't handle this.
I'm looking for an interesting, intelligent, open-minded, delightfully imperfect woman to relate to and share amusing observations with, as well as potentially a long weekend every few months if it gets there naturally. That's my case. Oh.
A long weekend where we can sit and discuss our Dexter fantasies.
True crime lovers need not apply.
Yeah. Preferably Mark Twitchell, seeking one woman, preferably has murdered at least one man.
Wait, have you heard that one? Triflers need not apply. I can't remember what that's from now, but that's also a true crime thing. I think it was a
I
lady
don't
that
think
would put
so.
out ads, but they cover it on a few of the big ones, I feel like. Because she's like, come to my farm, I need help, and you should be wealthy too. And like she has money, but then she just kills them. And she's like,
Yes.
triflers need not apply. Yeah.
I
can't
do remember that one. I can't remember her name. I do remember that. That was from Wine and Crime.
I think they covered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you they probably covered on like My Favorite Murder and stuff too. I'll have to ask Ressa, but yeah.
Probably.
So,
woo, Dexter,
hometown murder. And
yeah,
next time, hang on. What are we covering? I'm the worst.
the episode that's going to be posted.
What?
This is episode 12, and our third Patreon episode gets posted along with this episode, hopefully in the day or two following it. And it's going to be about aliens.
I am fucking
And then our episode after this one, episode 13, I have tentatively entitled You Don't Want to Live Here.
Guys, it's going to be like a haunted series because of course we're castles and cryptids, so of course we're going to do haunted castles, manors, mansions, fucking
everything,
anywhere
hospitals,
you can live. And it's haunted.
Yeah.
Any prisons, sanitariums. Maybe that could be in it though. I mean, it's just like it will be the haunted series, and then we get back to our true crime, our conspiracy theory, our aliens, all our favorite things. These are a few.
Oh my god! You beat me to it.
Oh shit!
By like a second.
We're like this, you and I. I'm doing the finger thing because we record remotely, but we're on par.
Yeah.
We balance each other out.
A few of my favorite things.
Oh, all right. Well, catch us next time for this craziness. Bye-bye.
This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, and Pocket Casts. Our episodes are also uploaded to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers. Become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can also take our poll and let us know what kind of bonus content you'd like to see in the future. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Our music is by Kobe Off Air. Thanks for listening.